Excuse me, can I please talk to you for a minute?
Hey girlfriends, and to everybody else, what up YouTube? So I'm back with another podcast. This one is going to be a little different. I'm going to be doing it all over. I'm going to be doing a voiceover this time. And it's only because really I just didn't get ready in time today. It's Sunday and this is supposed to be up today. And I've just been rushing. Don't mind the background noise. That's my husband playing video games. If you do hear it, I'm so sorry. But y'all, I've started to wait to put this information out next Sunday when I have more time. But I'm like, I think I want to go ahead and do it. I'm just going to do it different way. I know it's a little hectic for me, but I want to get it done. And I'm like, let's just try this way. This may work. I may have to do this again this way because I know how I get. I know how I procrastinate. That's something I'm working on. But let's get into it. So today's podcast episode is how to stop people pleasing. And it's going to include codependency and how to stop that as well. It's more so going to focus on people pleasing because that is basically a trait of codependence. So let's jump right in. First, I want to give you I guess my own personal recollection of being a people pleaser or whatnot, because I was a little bit. I would say my people pleasing mostly came in at relationships. Not really so much people and friends because I didn't really care to have friends, if that makes sense. That's just me. But I'm going to tell you something. What helped me to really, really stop being, well, not help me stop being a people pleaser. What helped me to realize that I can't please everybody is doing this work. Actually being this content creator, being on this platform, being on my Instagram, I've been that girl too platform. That's Instagram, I've been that girl too. And doing all of this work has gotten me to realize that I can't really please everybody. Like, it's impossible to. Someone's going to be unhappy, but you know what? You can't cater to everyone's feelings because that is you basically neglecting yourself. And I'm going to get more into that, of course. But I realized that I still wanted to do this work. And I'm going to always do this work. It's just that everything is not for everyone. And it's up to them to decide that what's for them and what's not. Everybody's not going to be like my content. And it's okay. I like my content. And so, but yeah, doing this work has definitely been a wake-up call for me to realize that it's impossible to do this. It's impossible to please everyone. And I want to get into what people pleasing actually is to get you a better definition of it. So, what is people pleasing? People pleasing involves putting someone else's need ahead of your own. And now you may be thinking like, okay, so what's so wrong with that? Sometimes putting other people's needs before mine. Now, it's a problem when it becomes second nature. When it becomes second nature, that is an issue because that's who you are and you're basically seeing yourself through other people's eyes. And you're trying to please them and not even thinking of your own self. So when it becomes second nature to just please people and not even check in with yourself, that's what makes it a problem of putting someone else's need ahead of your own. And to continue with the definition, people pleasers are highly attuned to others and are often seen as agreeable, helpful, and kind. However, people pleasers may have trouble advocating for themselves, which can lead to harmful pattern of self-sacrifice or self-neglect. Now, I got the definition off the internet because, yes, I know what people pleasing is, but I wanted an exact definition from an actual source. I think it was a psychology page, one of those pages. I actually didn't write it down, so I'm sorry. But I just pulled a definition from there because I wanted you to actually know exactly what it means. Excuse me. Okay, so people pleasing, it basically puts you in a state of self-neglect. And you don't realize you're doing it because your main goal is for people to think you're kind, people to like you, people to think you're nice, people to not have their feelings hurt by you. You're afraid to hurt people's feelings. You don't feel like it's safe. And I'm going to give a lot of reasons why you may do this, but I want to start with some signs that could be causing you to do this. Well, not do. I want to give you some signs so that you can check in with yourself and see, okay, maybe am I a people pleaser? So, the signs are, let me see. Number one, do you try to get attention by by pleasing people? Two, do you please people to get them to appreciate you so you can feel good about yourself? Three, are you afraid of being rejected if you don't please people? Four, are you afraid of being yelled at or hit if you assert yourself? Five, if you don't please people, are you afraid of being attacked by your inner critic? Six, do you expect other people to get their way? Seven, do you want to avoid conflicts by pleasing people? Eight, do you try to please people that believe can help you get ahead? 9, do you try to get loved by pleasing people? 10, do you try to stop people from judging or shaming you by pleasing them? 11, do you please people to get them to like and accept you so you can feel good about yourself? 12, are you afraid of being dismissed if you assert yourself? 13, are you afraid of being judged or ridiculed if you assert yourself? 14, if you don't please people, are you afraid someone will be hurt and then you'll feel guilty? 15, do you assume that someone you're close with will try to run your life? 16, are you afraid of getting into fights if you assert yourself? 17, do you please people to get them to take care of you? 18, do you try to stop people from attacking you by pleasing them? Now, if you said yes to almost all of these, or even some of these, then chances are you are a people pleaser. Now, I want to go on to say this before I move on. So some have gone on to say that it is a form of manipulation to be a people pleaser. And they say it's because you're essentially being a giver to get something in return and you're not a true giver from the heart. But honestly, I don't like to look at it as that. And I would never actually not portray that. I would never actually advise that as a way to help you heal people pleasing. So if you have ever saw that on the internet, I'm sorry you had to see that. And I'm sorry that it possibly put you in a state of feeling like that you're a manipulator and like something's wrong with you. That's the last thing a people pleaser needs in order to heal, is to feel like something is really wrong with them and that they're a manipulator. I don't believe in tough love. But I feel like people pleasers are trying to get their self-care needs met through other people. They're trying to take care of others how they want to be taken care of, since they don't know how to tend to themselves. So it's more of a form of codependency. Calling it manipulation just puts the people pleaser in a state of shame, and I feel like it won't help with your healing at all. All in all, I feel like people pleasers really know their hearts and know why, and know that they would never purposely manipulate someone. So my thing is, why even call it manipulation? That's something that we're not going to do. And I'm not going to include that in this podcast because I just don't feel like I don't feel like that's the right terminology for that. And so I want to get into more reasons why you may be a people pleaser. It's not just because you're trying to get your self-care needs met through other people. That's just one way. That tends to be a major way. And I think subconsciously, a lot of people pleasers do this and don't even realize that they're doing it, that they're trying to get their self-care needs met. It's also can be because it's safer. You feel safer when you're pleasing people and people are happy with you because you are afraid of the outcome. If you notice in the beginning, when I read off all the signs that you could be a people pleaser, notice almost everything, all of them had the word fear in it. And I feel like with a lot of things like codependency, people pleasing, trust issues, all of it is fear based. Like think about it, all of the things that can be, I don't want to say mental health wise, I'm trying to gather my words, but anyway, you notice a lot of these things are based in fear. So it's because when fear is basically what's behind all of this, and you're basically trying to survive. And when you're trying to survive that fear, you're trying to ease that fear, you tend to have traits that come up like people pleasing and codependency. And it's all fear based. All of it is. And so let's get more down to the nitty gritty. I want to go over some reasons why you may be a people pleaser, and I'll include some ways to fix it as well when I go over my whys. And then I have some more ways to fix people pleasing and some more mindset shifts to help you with this. So I feel like when you know your why you do something, it makes it easier to understand yourself and to get to the healing part. Understanding just why, of course, won't just automatically heal you, but it can help on your journey. When you know why you do something, that means you're more self-aware of it and you see it in real time and see it going on. So you can stop it and actually try to work to change it. So that's what I'm here to help you do. So your first reason why you may be a people pleaser is you were possibly raised in a household with emotionally unstable parents, and you may have experienced neglect or some type of abandonment. Who you are didn't really get a chance to fully develop. And the reason being is because you learned to disconnect from yourself because you haven't been taught to really love yourself for who you are, because the people that were supposed to love you for who you are didn't, or they didn't do a very good job of it for whatever reason. Now this can mean that you maybe had some pretty good decent parents. It doesn't have to mean you had the worst parents or that you were actually abused. I want you to know that you can be traumatized and you can feel abandoned even if your parents or caregivers meant well. Say if they worked a lot and couldn't be there for you. Say if they were a little emotionally unavailable and didn't know how to tend to your emotions all the time. Or say if you dealt with any type of trauma alone and you feel like you couldn't go to them to tell them how you feel about it, but you dealt with it alone. So that any of that can relate to this. And so what happens is that when you disconnect from yourself, you start to form, codependency is formed. People pleasing is formed within codependency because you're now learning that who you are as a person isn't enough to get your needs met. So now you have to be focused on what you think others need. So they'll love you or like you and then give you what you need. You see how those two kind of go in hand? That's why I decided to put them both together. Codependency and being a people pleaser. Because they're one and the same, but not exactly the same, is what I'll say. And so what happens, continuing on, what happens is that you spend little time to developing a sense of self, and it's because you've been conditioned to feel like who you are isn't enough. And so then you're seeking a sense of self through others. And not to mention, if you've been in a household like this, you may have been afraid to speak up because you may have been criticized for speaking up. You may have been threatened for speaking up. Some fear may have been put into you for you actually speaking out and up. because it may have not been allowed in your household. And so the only way that you felt safe and felt like somebody is if you actually peopled pleased them. You actually, and this is where it all starts. Like, there are very few cases to where people pleasing comes later on in adult life, because people pleasing is something that has really been ingrained in you and you've been conditioned this way. This is not something that sneaks up on you and all of a sudden, oh, I'm a people pleaser. So somewhere in your upbringing, in your past, as you were growing up and learning, you you picked up people pleasing as like a survival tactic. That's essentially what it is. It's that you've learned how to get by and get along by people pleasing. You may have did it to keep the peace in your household. And then, not to mention, say if your parents or caregivers were somewhat emotionally unstable, emotionally unavailable, or just weren't there as much as you needed. And then when they were there and they affirmed you or they were happy with you for something you did, you found ways to do more of that to please them, to get what you need for them. If, like, for me, I want to throw an example for me to help you grasp all of this. Like, with my mom, she was very emotionally unstable and unavailable. And I understand now it's because of not the upbringing. I'm sorry. I understand now it's because of the marriage she was in with my dad. It was a very toxic marriage. I didn't realize it was toxic back then as a child. I really thought that the way that they related to each other and argued and everything, I thought it was all just normal. I didn't look at it as toxic at all until I got older and experienced it my own. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So her temperament was kind of all over the place. It was very unpredictable. But I knew ways to get a predictable outcome. I knew that she would praise me when I did something right, like cleaned up to her liking and to her and to the best of my ability, that made her seem like, okay, happy with me. I knew ways to get her a good response from her. And so I remember looking back, I remember, but all this as a kid, I didn't really realize what was going on. And I even seen it in all of my siblings. We all did it. We all people pleased. And we were all raised to be that way. And it's because of her unpredictability. And I just recall there was one story. I realized that I didn't know it was people pleasing back then, but I was just like, I looked at it like, okay, what is that? So when we were younger, I recall once my sister, we were all getting our neighbors a gift. Like, we were really close with our neighbors growing up. And so my mom said, okay, I'm going to get this watch for our neighbors a gift. And this is what, I'm going to say it's from all of us. Our mom, of course, when I picked it out, got it and all that. I remember my little sister jumping up and saying, I want to give it to her. I want to give it to her. I want to give it to her. I want to be the one to give it to her. And it was dead. I was young, but I knew that was like people pleasing. I didn't call it people pleasing in my head, but I knew, I can tell the way she acted, that she was always basically trying to look for ways to be looked at as the good girl. And everybody be like, oh, look, thank you so much. She always wanted to get that out of people and be someone to be like, oh, I just love her. She's so nice and all of that. And because she was more social than I, and she still is. But I noticed that. And I noticed mine in more subtle ways as well. And I'm like, okay, so we all were people pleasers in some form of fashion. And it's because of our mother. So that's just something I wanted to let you know, that that's some ways that you can maybe go back and realize when you were doing it. And think about who wouldn't resort to people pleasing in that type of environment. You're not getting what you need, and so you're finding other ways to get it. And so I'll talk more about this and how to heal these things. Right now, I'm just going to go over the whys. Another reason why you may people please is that you may have never felt accepted or loved for who you are, so you created this person that could be whatever anyone needed you to be. That kind of goes with what I said previously just now. You basically want to feel accepted. You want to fit in. You want to be liked because you can't take not being liked. Another reason you wanted to receive praise and validation. No, I'm sorry. You receive praise and validation intermittently, not regularly. So if you didn't get it on the regular just for you being you, but you got it when you did something right in your parents' eyes, then that's going to cause you to be codependent and a people pleaser. Another reason, you're not sure of who you are and you want to belong. Your sense of who you are was developed and conditioned by what you could do for others to make them happy with you. And that goes back to, of course, the upbringing. All of this goes back to upbringing. Another reason, you can't bear being disliked. You're afraid of being judged or afraid of what people will say about you. You're not doing things for others because you really want to. You want them to think you're nice. And so, with you wanting people to think you're nice, so since you fear the criticism and you basically weren't taught how to handle it, and you were always looking for a way to survive it and to survive, any type of harsh criticism that may have came your way, or you felt you needed more validation and didn't get it, it's going to cause you to fear being disliked because you look at that as something being wrong with you. And not, you're not taught that your sense of self hasn't been developed. And if you don't have a sense of self, that means you don't really like yourself. So you need everyone else to like you so that you're not reminded of you not liking yourself. I hope that makes sense. But I'll continue on with that. So this is how you're vulnerable to being used because you don't have boundaries and people know that you will always say yes. If people know that you're always going to say yes, they're going to keep asking you for things. And that was how you become suspect to being used. No, everyone won't like you, but if they don't like you because you're not doing for them or doing what they want you to do, or because you have boundaries and you say no, then they themselves are codependent on you and only see what you can do for them. They don't actually appreciate you for who you are. So do you see how this is basically a cycle? You're used to people not seeing you for who you are. For one, because you have not been conditioned to love yourself. You've only been conditioned to love what you can do for someone. That's your way of surviving. So it continues on into your adulthood. And that's how you begin to be used and taken advantage of. Because people are only seeing what you can do for them. And so it's like a monster almost was created. And you're creating monsters around you. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, it all starts and ends with you, basically. So when you're people pleasing, you are actually creating codependent people around you. And what that is doing is weighing heavily on you, and it can drain the hell out of you. And you don't realize it's draining you until it's too late. And so, moving on, I'm going to go over some more whys. You also know the why is you don't know how to ask for what you need. So you give in hopes that people will treat you how you're treating them. Doing for people and pleasing them is not going to guarantee that they will treat you the same. But once again, if you've picked this up, it's a survival tactic. You have made yourself believe that this is how you get it. It's the only way to get your needs met. I can't ask for what I need because I may get denied or I may get rejected. I may get abandoned. I can't ask. I can't just speak up for myself because I don't know how to do that. I'm afraid. So I'm just going to make sure they know that I'm a nice person and make them want to do for me. That's often the mindset of a people pleaser. And it's often because you've been conditioned that way. And since you've been conditioned that way to feel that way, that's how you're going to portray yourself. And when doing that, it's not, like I said, it's not going to guarantee that people are going to treat you the same. And I tell you why. Because some people are going to see it as a way to take advantage of you. And some people may not even be trying to actually take advantage of you. They may think, oh, she's just this nice person. I can ask her for whatever I need and I'm going to get it. And these people may or may not be able to accept a no for you, but you'll never know because you're not telling them no. You're telling them yes every time, and you're not telling them what's really wrong with you and what you need. And the thing is, this has become your safe way to get what you need. You're thinking, if I do for them, I'll get what I need. They'll give me what I need. They'll just be nice to me. You believe in the golden rule to heart. Do, what is it? Let me stop. I'm about to trip over my words and say it wrong. You believe the golden rule that says basically treat others how you want to be treated. Now, I got a bone to pick with that rule. I'm not going to pick it all the way here because then I feel like I'd be all off subject. But when you do that, it's really causing you to be codependent. And you're not going to get your needs met by just doing for others automatically. Because for one, not everyone will have the ability to treat you how you treat them. That's something that you really, really, really have to be mindful of and pay attention to. Moving on before I get too far off, because I still got some more I want to say. I got a lot of notes on this. Here's another big reason why you take other people's boundaries personally. Let me explain this, girlfriends. So, you may feel rejected, abandoned, or unloved if someone tells you no. Your perspective here is to do everything for everyone and always say yes so you don't make others feel how you feel. You don't want to hurt their feelings like yours normally get hurt when you're told no. This could also have came from your childhood. Maybe you may have been a little spoiled in your childhood. You may have always been told yes. You may have always, your parents may have not made you hold yourself accountable for your wrongdoing or what you did. Or they always just pat you on the back and said, it's okay. So this could be a little different in your upbringing. It could be a mixture of both. You could have one parent spoiling you and one parent being emotionally unavailable. It can happen. So if that is the case, then that means as you grew up and people start telling you no, and it's only, and it also could be because of your people pleasing. You know that you are a people pleaser, so you expect others to be a people pleaser as well. You expect others to treat you how you're treating them. And so you take it personally if someone tells you no, because you would never say no. You knew that you would go above and beyond for others. But that's where the issue is coming in at. You're expecting people to automatically be just like you, love just like you, and give just like you. And not everybody has that ability. This whole thing is going to help you to get into the mindset of understanding that you can say no, and understanding you having boundaries helps you to understand when others say no. Because you have to make sure that you are looking out for yourself and not abandoning yourself in any of this, which is really essentially what's going on here. And I think that's all my whys. Let's get into what you can do. I got one more why. Another reason why you want people to think you're nice or feel you're a good person. You're afraid of upsetting people or letting people down. And it goes back to the dynamic between you and your parents. You may have been afraid to let them down because of the harsh criticism. The problem here is people will think you're nice. Sorry. And then begin to run over you. So I said a little of that before, but it was in my notes. So I want to make sure I got it all out. But that is definitely another reason why. Your fear of letting people down. Because it's like, if you did that growing up, you let your parents down, and you didn't like how they made you feel, of course it's going to put fear in you moving forward. You're not going to ever want to do that. So you're going to try your best to please people so you don't be reminded of that feeling, because you've seen what happens with it. That's basically what that means. So here is how to stop being a people pleaser, but still being you. So the thing is, people pleasers, there's nothing wrong at all with being a nice person, being a giving person, being kind to others, being nice to others, saying yes sometimes. Not a problem at all. So these steps I'm going to give to you now will be on how to not people please, but still actually be yourself, be a nice person. Now, I will say, not everyone will think the same way about you and think you're a nice person, even when you do this. And I'm going to teach you how to be okay, how to switch your mindset to be okay with that. So let's just get into it. Okay. One way to stop is taking better care of yourself. You will realize through self-care that you can regulate your own emotions and prioritize yourself. You'll realize that others can do the same and that you don't have to people please in order to help them regulate their emotions. You don't have to be responsible for how they feel from you implementing a boundary or saying no. Because essentially, with the people pleasing, that's what it is. You are trying to regulate other people's emotions. You're thinking for them. You don't know if this person is going to get upset at you for you saying no. And let's say if they do. Let's say if it is a person that you maybe once kind of didn't want to go with what they were saying or doing, and you wanted to speak up, but you are afraid to because they made you feel ashamed to do that or guilty for doing it. Those are not your people. So instead of trying to please someone like that, I want you to check in with yourself and see, why am I trying to please this person? Why is it okay that this person makes me feel guilty for wanting to take care of myself? That's when you have to realize, and the switch goes off, and realize that this person may be a little bit selfish. They may be even codependent. They're using me, and it's not right. And so when you stop and think about things before you do it and why you're doing it, it easily helps you to switch your mindset into your higher self, I should say. And so what I mean by self-care, it's meaning that you get to take a break for you. You get to sit with yourself. You get to learn how to regulate your own emotions. And in you actually taking care of self, you realize that others can do the same. Because I feel like the way we view the world and our perspective all starts with how we feel about ourselves, how we see ourselves. It all starts with us. Whatever is going on with you, you're going to feel like it's going on with the world as well. Just like, I don't like my acne scars. And for a long time, still now, I don't like to go out or be seen too much without it on because I feel self-conscious about them. So in my head, I feel like since I feel self-conscious about them and look at them in the mirror, I feel like everyone else is going to stare at them and be judging me for them. Not judging me, but actually be thinking like, damn, look at all the spots on their face. To some, it may not even be that bad, but you see how that works? Whatever is going on in your mind with something about yourself, you're going to feel like it's in everyone else's minds. And so once you change your mindset, everything around you changes. Like once you start to realize that you can self-regulate your emotions, you can prioritize your self-care, you can take care of yourself, you can lift yourself up. You're going to be like, okay, if I can do this, y'all can do it too, and you're not going to keep using me. That's how that works. Now, I want to get deeper into this. Another way is you can set boundaries and start small, because I know it may be hard to do so if you are not used to doing that, and if you're even a little bit afraid to do that because you're afraid of what's going to happen when you do that. And I want you to know that if you fear setting boundaries because of, you're going to upset someone, anyone that gets upset at your boundaries can regulate their own emotions. That's why I said what I said first, because anyone, say if you say no to someone and they really needed you, but you really just can't do it. You checked in with yourself and realize, I really can't do this right now. I have this and this going on. And you said no. Now, it's okay to hurt you to say no, but don't feel guilty, because it's like, whatever happens with you saying no to the other person, they are responsible for themselves. You are not responsible for their emotions. Get your mindset on that and remind yourself you are not responsible for regulating anyone's emotions. I know in your household growing up, You may have been used to regulating people's emotions, but it wasn't right then and it's not right now. That's what you have to realize, that even though you've been conditioned that way and it's your safe place, you can slowly get out of that by managing your own emotions and regulating your own emotions and setting boundaries. So know that you can be nice, kind, and giving, but you can still set boundaries, because not only takers will take advantage of you, but anyone else that truly believes you're just being nice will take advantage of you too. So it's really about self-preservation, your boundaries. And you can start small. Like, before you say yes to anyone, check in with yourself and check and ask yourself, okay, why do I need to say yes to this person? What do I have going on? Can I do it? And it may hurt to say no because you're not used to it, but I want you to get in your head that I have to take care of me before I can pour into others. And then say no. Or you can start by you just say, if you're going out with friends and they're all asking what you want to do, speak up and say what you like to do. Or speak up and say what you like. You may or may not get it, but that's when you learn to regulate your own emotions around it and go, it's okay to go with the flow sometimes, but it's not okay to just go with the flow knowing that you had something you wanted to say or do or whatnot. So, it's like I said, it's okay, but you can always regulate your own emotions, and that's how you get in the mindset of knowing that others can do the same. So, another thing I want to say on that is that you have to release this idea that you can control how someone feels about you. They can think you're a nice person, or they can think you're a mean person. What matters most is that you know who you are. And that goes back to you maybe not really having a good sense of who you are. But best believe that who you are is not going to be found in others' perceptions of you. You will end up getting a twisted view of who you are. And so essentially what all of this is doing, what can come from all of this is that you have to truly learn and develop a sense of self. And you have to be okay with people thinking what they want about you. Because the thing is, let's go back a minute. Let's go back to where it first all began. And you felt like you were displeasing your parents. You felt like you couldn't please them, make them happy. You know, the environment that you learned how to people please in. If you go back to it emotionally, and this is kind of like what shadow work steps in. So if you go back there emotionally, you can actually reparent yourself while you're there. Whatever situation that happened to you that really made you feel that way, reparent yourself there. And you do this by being there for you emotionally. Say if you did something and your parents went off on you, yelled at you, didn't quite understand you, you can twist it around and go back there and look at it and parent yourself and say, you know what, I know you tried, it's okay. I know you must have felt this way. You can honor your feelings back then. That's exactly what I did. And it really works. Shadow work really works. I'll have to do another whole podcast on shadow work because it really helps. And I do offer one-on-one coaching. I just meant to say that. I do offer one-on-one coaching to help you to go back to certain things emotionally in your childhood and upbringing and to help you to move past it because it's affecting your present day life. And so once you do that and you realize that, you start to realize that, okay, they were really wrong at that time. Like, you can say now that you're older and an adult, my parents were wrong. They were wrong that time. As when you're a child, you don't have much wisdom and you learn to trust your parents. So you're thinking to yourself, my parents are right. But when you get older and go back there emotionally, you can say that they were wrong for that. And I want to move on forward with setting boundaries and saying no. Because that's not being able to have your boundaries. It's essentially what's leaving you suspect to being taken advantage of and being a people pleaser. Because think about it like this. You are not going to get what you want by always saying yes. You don't have to always say yes. If you feel like that you giving more to others, it's going to bring you and attract to you what you want, and it's going to get them to give you what you want. What it really means is that you aren't filling yourself up. I said that a little before, but I want to speak more on that because I feel like it's so important, because that's why you don't have a sense of self, because you are basically only giving unto others, and you're not even giving any of that energy to yourself. So all of this can be looked at as a way to, it can be an indicator that you are doing too much, because you're trying to receive everything you want from everyone else instead of receiving it from yourself. Because deep down, that's a reason for for a lot of people pleasing behavior. Is that you're trying to get your needs met. You're trying to get what you want by giving to others and hoping they will do the same and just know to give back to you. But you have to take a moment to fill yourself up. You have to take a moment to give you what you need, because they're not going to do it. You can't depend on no one else to do that for you. That's how you build a lot of resentment, anger, bitterness, and all of that stuff that's just not going to attract anything in your life that you really want. Think about it. If you're in a state of constant resentment, constant bitterness, constant sadness, because you're just giving, and expecting in return, essentially, I know you mean well, but you're essentially not doing it from the heart. You're doing it because deep down you want to receive externally. You don't know how to give yourself what you need because you haven't been taught that. You don't have a strong sense of self. So once you stop, take a moment and realize that, okay, all these people you're trying to please, they're thinking of themselves. They're getting what they need and getting more from you. So who's giving to you? It's probably not them. So that's when you have to take a breather, stop and realize that I have to pour into me to be okay. And they're going to have to be okay with that. If they don't think I'm a nice person because I want to say no this time, I want to set a boundary, then that's a them problem, not a me problem. And it goes all back to realizing that once you regulate your own emotions, you set boundaries for yourself, you won't take others' boundaries so personally, and you will understand that everyone can regulate their own emotions just as you can, and it will be okay. And then you'll start to see those once you go back and you heal emotionally, whatever however this wound started, you would then start to apply it to now and realize that, okay, I was being used, they're wrong. I can be disliked, it's okay. If I'm disliked for being my authentic self and wanting to take care of me, that is not something that I need to control. What you can do instead is make room for people. Make space for them to heal themselves. Make space for them to, actually be there for themselves. You don't have to always be their rescuer. You don't have to always come to their aid just because they're asking you. And if they have a problem with that, then realize that they don't really see you. Because the thing is, you want to get away from people not really seeing you for you. There is so much more to you than what you can do for people, and you have to realize that. Now, I know that part of you may have not been nurtured. You may not know how to do that, but you can start by sometimes saying no and setting boundaries and actually caring for yourself and get in the mindset that I can't pour from an empty cup. I can be nice and giving, but I have to tend to myself. I have to say no sometimes. And some things you can do instead of people pleasing. Because usually in times you people please because you're trying to avoid the discomfort that comes with not people pleasing. So instead of you trying to people please to avoid the discomfort, instead implement your boundaries and state what you will need and what you want. Taking care of yourself too here is, like I said, you can't pour from an empty cup. The people you're pleasing won't always please you back, so you have to depend on yourself to fill you up. And in doing this, easing your discomfort this way and finding other ways to ease your discomfort with people, you can also not be around these people. Like, think about it. If you feel the need to people please someone, if you feel the strong need, if it's some people in your life, think about anyone in your life that you have the strong need to want to people please. More than likely, they are causing you some type of discomfort within your body. Tune in and figure out what the discomfort is. Why is this person making you feel uncomfortable? Why do you feel the need to always say yes to this person? Why do you feel the need to overextend yourself for this particular person or persons in your life? Think about the people that are causing you this discomfort. And more than likely, they don't even deserve you doing half of the shit you're doing for them. But it's because you're uncomfortable, and that's the only way you know to deal with it. Another way you can deal with it is not deal with those people that make you feel uncomfortable. No one should be making you feel discomfort for being around them. Usually what's happening is that you're people pleasing them because you, for some reason, just want to keep them in your life. They may have been there in your life a long time. They may be family. They may be someone that you just don't want to upset because you care about them. But it's okay to care about you too. And it's okay to want to ease your discomfort by, instead of people pleasing and spreading yourself thin, by removing yourself or spending less time with them. And it's okay to not want to be used. Like, the more you realize that you're doing and doing and doing for others and no one's pouring back into you, it's okay to say, I'm stopping this because I need to tend to me. No one else is tending to me. I need to do this for me. And I'll tell you something personally about myself with people pleasing, because I realize that people pleasers tend to cultivate other people pleasers and have them in their circle, if that makes sense. And I'll explain. Because someone is people pleasing, especially if it's in your family or someone close to you, friend, anyone, if you feel like they, can't take the word no, or they'll get upset at you, if you feel like they are dependent on you, you're going to please them. So it's like, it's two people pleasers. Because someone's afraid to say no, someone's dependent on the other, and so you're creating this, group of people pleasers. I felt like that was the case with me. And it's like, I remember one year, it was really tough for me and our family because we had a lot of deaths in our family, and I was working in this call center job that was stressing me the hell out. And when I get off work, someone close to me wanted to talk about their shit that was going on in that day. They just want to talk to me. I became that person for them. And that was fine at first, but so much has started coming up in my life that I became self-negligent. And I remember I had to take time off work and go on leave mentally because it was just too much to deal with. I needed a break. And I had to set a boundary with this person. And I feel like it hurt their feelings, but I feel like over time, once they began to see people around them that they were once dependent on set boundaries, it in turn helped them to break out of the people pleasing. And so it's like when you heal yourself, you heal the group around you. Not with you trying, but you're setting the example. So this is a good way to realize that if you make the change first and people grow with you, they may be a little upset at first. But if they really care about you, then they will be okay. And they'll learn you're teaching them to regulate their own emotions and to see things clearly. Now this person is older and realized what was happening with me that time. And like, you know what? I be needing the same thing. Sometimes I'm needing time to myself. And they started learning how to regulate their own emotions. Because I stopped being that person they can go to for every single thing. Because I had to tend to myself. And so that our whole dynamic changed. And it changed for the better. So that's why I'm saying sometimes people will actually grow with you. But I want you to be prepared that you may have to say goodbye to some people. And it's because they're not seeing you for you. They're seeing you for what you can do for them. And if someone can only see what you can do for them, they are using you. They don't see the real you. And the only way for you to grow and to start to get a sense of self is if those people fall to the wayside. And I'm not saying this is going to be an easy part, because not everybody will grow with you, but it's important that you do this for yourself. It's important that you grow and you can actually release the bitterness and resentfulness that comes from people pleasing. It's important for you to cultivate a life of happiness for yourself by actually tending to yourself. This is important for you to grow and to get more out of life that you want. And it's important for you to do this for yourself so that you can continue to be this nice person, important to others when you get the chance. It's going to be some tough work. I'm going to be honest and say it's going to be a tough journey. But I want you to know that you'll make it. And the people you're saying no to, they'll be okay. The people that you have to start setting boundaries with, let them regulate their own damn emotions. Don't be that dependent person for them. Don't be that crutch for them. Let them regulate their own emotions. And I promise you, once you start to learn how to regulate your own and to be there for yourself, to pour into yourself, to develop self-care routines for yourself, and to actually take care of you and your needs, because nobody else is going to do it for you. Once you begin to realize that and do that for yourself, you're going to first of all, you're not going to want anyone coming in and messing all that up. Second of all, you're going to realize they can do the same. And so, one other thing I want to point out, making sure I got all my notes, all my bullet points, because I feel like this was a really, really important topic. And I'm actually glad I'm doing it this way, just voiceover, so that I can actually see my notes and read them all. Because I wrote down a lot of good stuff. I think I already said to ask yourself before you do anything for anyone why you're doing it. Yes, I did. But I want you to self-reflect more on that person. I said this a little before, but I want to actually add this component. So, if you're wanting more from this person and they're really unavailable, if so, don't do more for them because you're trying to get something for them. Don't be afraid to actually ask for what you need. Now, if you are afraid because you're afraid of hearing no, because of someone else's boundaries, that's something that I talked about. You have to tend to that yourself. If you're afraid of lashing out or afraid of them, if you're just afraid of what the response will be, look at the response. It's them letting you know who they are. It's not to showcase who you are. This is where the mindset shift comes in. You now know how this person can and cannot show up for you, and you can either accept it or let it go. Now, I'm not saying it's because they say no one time. I'm saying if they seem to never be available for you, even in the times when you need them most, maybe they're not for every single thing, but if they're never there at all, and they're always saying no, and you're asking them for what they need, asking people what you need, I know it's scary because of what the answer may be, or you're not used to putting yourself in that state. It maybe make you feel very vulnerable, very scared. Just get in your mindset that you're doing this so you can see what kind of person they are for you and if they can be there for you. And whatever happens after that, that's your answer. If someone criticizes you, goes off on you, makes you feel wrong or bad for asking for what you need, then you know that they can give it to you and you move on. You know what kind of person they are. It's not saying anything about who you are. So, get in the mindset of asking yourself, why are you trying to please this person? And then, knowing that after you try and they can't, not after you try, but then realizing that if you can't go to them and ask them for what you need, then they simply can't give it to you and move on. And so I know I make all of this sound simple. I hope I'm not making it sound simple. It's just that overall, what I want to close out with is that to stop people pleasing, you have to develop a sense of self for yourself. And that will take some time. Because essentially, people pleasing is not going to get you anywhere in life. It's not going to get you what you want. Not like you think. You don't have to survive anymore. You don't have to. You're not in an environment that you have to survive. I know it feels like it's still that same environment, and you've conditioned this way from your upbringing. But as you're now in the actual real world around different other people, you have to realize that first, not everyone is going to be like your household and be like that and criticize you harshly for speaking up for what you need. Some people are actually nice and want to be nice to you, you know? And so that's what I realized. Okay, not everyone is like that, like my upbringing, like my parents. But once you grew up around that, it becomes your world because you're thinking that's how the world is. But once you get out in the world, you'll soon realize that you don't have to really people please. And it's really only shortchanging yourself. That's one big thing that I realized is that people pleasing is really shortchanging myself. It's not bringing any quality people into my life. It wasn't actually doing anything for me, but just easing discomfort, easing fear. And so what I did was I learned how to ease that fear in other ways, like I mentioned before. And what got me to feeling okay with saying no and protecting myself and choosing when and how to say yes is realizing that no one else is going to be there for me and take care of me. I can't be dependent on that. It's like dependent on others will have you go with doubt. And will have you feeling like you're not getting all you need. So yes, I'm going to say no because I need to take care of me. And I'm not able to do this and I don't want to. So I'm going to say no. And some people may not like it. Some people didn't like it. But it's like I said before, I learned how to regulate my emotions and you can too. And then you start to realize that this person is just using me. Or usually that person is a people pleaser themselves. And so they expect you to be one. So, and that's all I got for this episode on people pleasing. I hope this helps you in some way to change your mindset around people pleasing. Because really, when it comes to healing it, it's going to getting to the root of why and then changing your mindset around it. Mostly all of this is just changing your mindset. There's no for real way to actually heal it. It's just learning how to navigate life differently. It's learning how to navigate people and your surroundings differently. That's really all it is. Because you've picked up a survival tool that is no longer useful for you. It's no longer helping you. You know, you're not in that environment anymore. You're in a new environment. And now it's just basically causing you more harm than good. And so in learning this, learning new tools, and learning how to navigate so that you won't be a people pleaser and won't be codependent, it's really all about being there for yourself. And knowing that you can, knowing that you are enough to be there for yourself. Knowing that depending on anyone else, you won't get all you need. You may get some of the things you need, but not all you need. People can only complement your life. You can't please them into, completing your life and doing what you need for you. You can't please your way into a collective. And everyone's not going to like you. Like, that's just the main thing I want to put out there at the end here. It's like, it's okay if people don't like you, don't feel good about you, have something to say about you. It's okay. Pleasing everyone means that you are inauthentic to yourself. When you are more authentic and you're actually who you are, being who you are, some people are not going to like it. And it could be simply because, oh, she's too nice. Or, oh, she's this. People can actually not just like you for whatever reason, and that's not your issue to deal with. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. That's why I want you to get in your head. Just because some people don't care for you or they may judge you, it could be because usually it's something up with them. It's something wrong with them. And so they're seeing something wrong with you. It's never usually about you. So get out of the mindset that it's you. Just know that you won't be liked and it's okay. The people that actually matter and actually like you for you, the people that you are in alignment with, won't have an issue with you. Just know that there is a group of people that like you. There's this saying I want to leave you with before I go that I love and I use and implement in my life daily. Even when I do this work I do, because I know not everyone is going to like it and resonate with it, and it's okay. Beyonce once said, there's plenty of people that don't like me, but there's 10 times more who love me and I love myself. It's basically saying, I'm not going to worry about those people that do not like me. All I can do is be my authentic self, so at least I like me. I have to like me. That's what's most important. And I didn't like myself when I was being a people pleaser. I didn't like myself when I was just more so worried about others, not me. So, yeah. When people think you're a nice person, they're going to think they can take advantage of you and get more and more and more from you, just spreading yourself thin. So keep in mind, everybody's not going to like you, but there's probably more that actually like you. And that's one other thing I want to add. It's like I've realized I forgot this. I want to add this at the end, or something, a personal note. So, like, growing up, I didn't feel like a lot of people liked me. In high school, I was bullied. I was even bullied at home, hell. And I was always afraid to put myself out there like this, like I'm doing. I did it slowly. If you notice, I used to just do, tweets on Instagram, on my Instagram page. I've been that girl too. And I never really showed my face, talked much about me. I wanted to do this work, but I was afraid to put me out there because I was afraid of what people would say about me. I was afraid people wouldn't like me. I was just, scared that basically how I grew up and always bullied, that's how the world was. But in doing this work, like that Beyonce saying is true for me, because I'm like, yes, there's some people that won't like me, but I'm realizing there's so many more people that actually resonate with me and like me. It's so many people that actually fuck with me. And yeah, I'm getting a little emotional right now. But it's like I realized that I've just realized that, while I can't please everyone, it's okay. But the people I'm really for in a major way. Like, I've just realized that not everyone is like my parents. Not everyone is like those people that bullied me. Like, everyone is not those people that made fun of me, that criticized me, that were mean to me. I don't have to. The way that I've learned to protect myself is knowing that I still have to be my authentic self. I still have to be me for me. I still have to be there for me. And in me being me and doing this work I do, like some of the stuff I shared, I never expected to go viral. I never expected anyone to resonate with it. But I kind of put myself out there a little and then a little more. And people started I started attracting people that are for me, that are in alignment with me. Like, y'all love to say that I'm really helping you. Y'all are helping me too. Like, this is great. Y'all just don't know. It's someone that, grew up bullied a lot and made fun of a lot for just me being who I am. Y'all love who I am. And I want you to know that while it may be a little bit scary to put yourself out there, I want you to slowly start doing it. Slowly start being a little more of yourself. And I promise you, the more that you work on being yourself, putting a little more of yourself out there, not saying you got to do it on, on the internet or anything, but just period in life. The little by little you do it, I promise you'll find your tribe. I promise you there are people that think you're their best. I promise you there are people that are going to love you for being you, not for what you can do for them. You don't have to please people in order to be liked. Let them people not like you. That says more about them than you. Let them people not like you. Let them. Don't try to please them. If they stay, that means they're maybe in alignment with you. If they go, that means they're not for you. That's simple as that. But I want you to know, I want to end on this. I want you to know that there are people that really will fuck with you. There are people that really will love you for you. Like, I'm not going over and beyond and overextending myself on my platform. But y'all just love me for me. And I want you to know that it's possible. That's all I want to say. Because this work has not, I know y'all say it's life change for you, and I appreciate all y'all. I see all your comments on Instagram. I've been that girl too. I love my community. I love y'all. But y'all have helped me grow too. Y'all really have. And I just want to share my appreciation for y'all, because I've realized that I can be myself and be loved for being myself. For just being my authentic self. And this has actually helped me to like me more. It's because I realized that I was stuck in my own little world of thinking that I'm too weird and no one's going to like me. But the more I opened myself up to do this work, I became more of my authentic self. And I'm not so afraid to put me out there anymore. So, yeah. I got a little emotional. I wasn't expecting it, but it's because I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. But that's all I got for this podcast episode, girlfriends. As you all know, I got a Patreon. It's patreon.com/I'veBeenThatGirl. You can go on there. I might have some bonus content about people pleasing and codependency. I'm not sure yet. Usually what happens is that some notes and some thoughts will come to me afterwards. And so I just upload it basically afterwards into my Patreon. And I say, oh, I got some other things I want to add. And I add it there. Plus, I got a bunch of other podcasts on there, over hundreds and hundreds. And sometimes we'll do little exercises. I may come up with some exercises to help with people pleasing. You know, whatever comes to me through the week leading up to the next podcast episode, which is next Sunday. Then that's when I'll put it all out there. That's like my place to go to put more out there, to put bonus content out there. And I also do one-on-one coaching to help you with anything. Just go in there and check out more details. The cheapest plan on there for bonus content is $5. And basically what it does is supports me to keep doing what I'm doing. Basically, y'all are helping me to not have to work a 9-to-5 and can just build all of my time into doing this because I like helping y'all. But that's all I got. Until the next podcast episode, girlfriends, peace out.